Hey everyone, it's Formal Riot here, and boy do we have an episode for you tonight. I hope you like music, because we're going to be really ramming that down your throat. So there's music, and more music with myself, Wolfie, and StormWolf. That's right, that amazing artist known as StormWolf. He's Australian, he's on the show tonight, so what am I holding you all up for? Let's go! So hello once again to yet another episode of Flamecaster. We kind of got, I know I said before, was with a pair of wolves, however, kind of got a little ambush as well, because there is a traitor amongst us once again. Stingray, ooh, he's back. You kind of really snuck up, we had the title music playing, everything was going great, and then you kind of just snuck in through the back door there.
He backstabbed us like a red spy.
I made myself welcome.
Yeah, you made yourself welcome. You always seem to do that. Well, regardless, before we get into the thick of this, we've all seen episode 4 now. I think there's a lot of points I actually want to bring up real quick, before we get to the meat of this show. In particular, Babsy has... She's already proven to be quite a controversial character, hasn't she?
Yes, but I adore her for really, well, not really, really personal reasons, but it's a long rant and I don't want to bore our listeners, so...
Well, I'm just going to say right now, I have found that episode, is my current favorite episode of the entire series, first, second, third season. By far my favorite episode. There's more evidence in it why Scootaloo is best pony. It is the most fluidic CMC episode to date, in my opinion.
I didn't like it.
And that's why we don't like you.
And that's why you're the traitor, my friend.
God, of course you wouldn't like it. Well, regardless, we'll get more into that, I believe, a little later. But for now, we have, I think, something more important, and probably more the reason why people will be tuning into this episode. We were able to steal one of Australia's top brony musicians and get him on the show. As I said before, I'm surrounded by wolves. We have the StormWolf. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hey, StormWolf.
Hello there.
Alrighty.
It's good to have a fellow South Australian on here.
Yeah, with the amount of Queenslanders I've been throwing at you guys, specifically Brisbaneites, I guess we do need to represent all of Australia by this stage, hey?
I think we still need to represent Sydney.
Yeah, we'll get to that. There's nothing interesting in Sydney anyways. Or Victoria. It's all about...
Or
it's all
Darwin.
about the least... Or Darwin, yeah, no, it's all about those... I shouldn't say that too loud. But, no. It is all about the least populated states, I guess. Northern Territory's not a state. So regardless, Storm, welcome to the show. Let's get right into it. You are, of course, a musician. You have made several tracks which are adored by quite a large number of people. I mean, your videos are averaging about 28,000 listeners a go. And I just want to go straight into it. What is your main inspiration for the music that you make, besides ponies?
Well, when I first started making music, I wasn't really sure what I was doing. But then, especially after ponies, I was just inspired by generally, all the well-known musicians at that time when I started. Namely, Wooden Toaster and Eurobeat Brony. But aside from pony stuff, one of my main inspirations for music is probably Toho. The Toho series.
Oh, yes! Toho's awesome.
I really like the composer's style. And, yeah,
Okay.
I just generally like, I don't know, Japanese music, I guess.
Just general Japanese music in itself. I can sort of see that in your music. I can definitely see that. But you also seem to dip a lot more in dubstep as well, and the heavy electronic stuff. Would that be more inspired from the Eurobeat as well? Yes. Would that be more inspired from the more brony musicians, I guess?
Yeah, I like most of the stuff I make in terms of the genre. I kind of not really copied, but kind of just got the style from very new musicians such as Odyssey and Wooden Toaster.
So continuing on, I guess, in that regards, because you've sort of really exploded onto the scene and have thus been able to carry on and been a part of a lot of great projects and collaborations. Which songs or projects... Yeah, Balloon Party being the most prominent and well-known. Which one has been the most fun? Or what has been your favorite song to make or most fun project to work on?
I guess so far my favorite's probably my collab with Wooden Toaster because he's just it's one of my favorite musicians ever. So getting to collab with him was really fun, and the way we did it was just kind of really casual, and I don't know, it was just really fun because it started off actually that song. It started off as like a troll song, like we were just going to enter this competition and make it a stupid song for it, which is why the intro kind of sounds silly. But then I don't know, for some reason it kind of evolved into a proper song. And yeah, it was really fun to make with him.
I think what you may have unintentionally dabbled into is another prominent point I've noticed. With a lot of these collaborations between musicians, they always seem to turn out, like, in interviews and the likes, everyone always claims that they're really casual. And is that, would you say, more because, really, you still are, I say amateur musicians as in because you're not getting paid to do a lot of this work, but would you say, like, the fact that it's amateur and it's more of a hobby, despite having this huge fan base, it allows you to still keep that casual attitude?
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to just have it as a hobby and not something really serious, I guess. Because I mean that's what music's about.
Would you ever see yourself going into sort of music for profit, or would you keep completely casual?
I'm not too sure on that. I mean, sometime in the future, I may like do what people like General Mumble and Renard do, like just small albums released on Bandcamp and such.
Yeah.
But as for how I'm going right now, I don't really see. I mean, if not as like a big in flow of profit, but I don't know, just something to make a bit of money off in the future, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, if you do that, it'd be interesting. I'm sure with the fan base you've acquired thus far, you would be able to definitely make a profit if you were to try and release a solo EP or even a CD. I reckon there would be enough interest, so I'd say pursue it. I'd probably buy a copy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually something I'd like to see for sure. Get an EP out there. But continuing onwards, though, I would like to know what sort of process goes behind the makings of your songs themselves.
Okay, well, with every song it's different, I guess. Sometimes I'm just playing on the piano and I may come across a melody that I like, and then later on I'll just transcribe it onto the computer. Sometimes I'll start with lyrics and then write something around that. Sometimes I'll just start with a chord progression and hum something along. So like, for example, with the beginning of Order, that was originally written on piano, and I then just kind of put everything together on the computer afterwards. Whereas with Shadow of a Flower, I had the lyrics for that written before I started composing it, and then I kind of just built the track around the lyrics. And
Okay.
I don't know, it's just kind of it's just really different all the time, I guess, which is pretty cool.
All right, and then with the process, I guess, being so different, it kind of, I can see how that would then help you, because there's a lot of variation in your songs. So I'm guessing, the ones that I do sound a little bit more similar are the ones where you'd use a similar process, and you can attribute that variation then to, your different processes in making them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I find that with different genres, I guess there's also different processes, or different processes that work better for each one, I guess.
Okay, that's actually really interesting. I've never thought about it that way before. Personally, I've always, but then again, the only music I've looked into sort of recording has always been, rock, and that is I'd never even writing songs, just recording it. So that's a pretty different process in itself. Enough about me, though. I actually kind of want to know more about your own song process and that. How long is it usually taking you from idea to completion to finish these songs?
Well, in terms of just like the project itself, I'd say each song probably has around 20 hours or so put into it, but I tend to procrastinate a lot, so in terms of the actual amount of time, sometimes it's a few months. Like with my Balloon Party track, I had 6 months to make that, and I kind of did it on the last 2 days.
As he mentioned on Tumblr a lot.
Oh,
yeah.
my.
I'm kind of capable of making something in a few days, but usually it just takes a few weeks or a few months just because I'm rather lazy.
I can't imagine. Now I have this image in my head of the people at Balloon Party freaking out, like, where's Storm's track, where's Storm tracks? Everyone else has, like, drafts and stuff sent in.
I can totally relate to that.
No, the funny thing is, I was talking to a few people in the Balloon Party chat, and a lot of them were also like me, like, so many of them would just rush it in the last week.
Well, didn't they have to release an extra album afterwards called After Party for all the unfinished stuff?
Oh, I guess for some people that they put their unfinished stuff there, but
I
that
thought
was kind of also just for the people who didn't make it in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought that was people who didn't come in. In terms of procrastinating, I can totally understand that, because I do that all the time when I art. I just start drawing, I'll finish this tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. I'll just feel like working on something on Ableton, and I'll just be tempted to go on Tumblr, and then I end up spending an hour or so on
Oh,
that.
Tumblr. So good,
That-
so bad.
That actually brings you mentioned Ableton, and I guess that brings me to another question I have. What sort of programs are you using to make your music?
Well, when I first started out, I pretty much didn't know anything, so I just used GarageBand. And
Okay.
after a while, when I started learning more about music production, I switched over to Ableton, and basically I just use Ableton, but I use a lot of plugins for that. And they're just generic plugins like Massive, which is a synthesizer, Silent, Melodyne for vocal processing, Contact for orchestral stuff, and yeah, just various plugins.
Okay. There's a few names. I'm not gonna lie, I can't claim that I know all of those, which is a bit of a shame to my year of trying to learn musical engineering or sound engineering, but there were some programs in there that I did recognize.
Melodyne. I want it just so I can sound like GLaDOS.
Yeah, Melodyne.
Yeah, Melodyne is just so fun to play with. They just auto-tune everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Melodyne's amazing. But moving on from that, so those are your intro programs. Starting off with GarageBand, I think everyone has been there at one stage or another. Even people who haven't pursued music have played around on GarageBand. Oh, the bad memories
Yeah, I mean,
there.
it's actually quite underrated, I find.
Yeah,
Like,
it is,
there's nothing
actually.
wrong with it. It is limited, but it's not actually as bad as some people say it is.
It is better than, I guess, a MIDI player. But then again,
Yeah.
I find MIDIs are
It's
underrated.
better than trying to make like custom stuff on Audacity.
No, but I do find that MIDIs are largely underrated. I actually have a lot of fun with MIDI files. But continuing onwards, I guess where I was getting at with bringing up the GarageBand and being a good, starting tool, I guess. What sort of tips do you have for any inspiring musicians out there who want to start getting their music known in terms of both like production and making their music and getting out there and being heard?
Well, just for first things, I always say this to people who ask, or people who are beginning music, is to learn music theory. Because, I mean, some people can compose without it, but it's a really useful thing to know. If you know music theory, you can easily, create melodies and harmonies, and, it's kind of, once you get used to it after a while, you just instinctively know what note will sound good with what other note. And another thing that I tell a lot of people to do is to recreate tracks, which is actually what I did at first before Pony Music. Every now and then I just try to recreate a song that I like in GarageBand, because it's just really helpful for learning music theory, and not just music theory, but just general music production, because by recreating other people's things, you kind of figure out what process they went through or how to emulate what they're doing, and then you can then apply that to your own music.
That seems to be the deal with most creative processes. I mean, pretty much every artist had to copy something at some stage, and I know I've spent hours just copying
Yeah.
screenshots from the show to get poses right.
And I could say you could do a similar thing in writing as well, I guess, where you
imitate a style.
Well, you can make the argument that every story is just the same story retold. But yeah, imitating of styles, that's something I know I've tried to do in the past. I'm quite terrible at it, but I definitely think that is a large part of everyone's creative process, is because, and it's not, I wouldn't say so much as it's you're copying as much you're drawing inspiration from it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that's the thing. Drawing inspiration from other artists and stuff is just really useful and stuff.
it's
Okay,
learning
so-
it's learning the techniques without having to learn how to create original content. it's just useful to do.
Pretty much.
So that's the first step. Still addressing the second step, once you actually have these tracks out there and you think they're really good, because you, as I mentioned before, you sort of just exploded out there. I would like to know, what you believe is the best way to go about in being heard.
That second part I'm not really sure about, because when I first started out, I don't know, I kind of just wasn't really that big at all. I don't know. I guess the best thing you can do is just to be patient, and well, obviously you have to submit it to sites like Equestria Daily and post it on Tumblr and stuff like that. But apart from that, you just have to be patient, I guess. There's no really, you can't really force like people to start watching. I mean, listening to your music. You just have to wait for it to naturally start being heard, I guess.
Okay, so patience is key.
Oh, yes.
Drawing from that, your response there reminds me a lot of one of my favorite bands, No Effects. Was it No Effects? Oh, shoot, I might have just horribly messed that up. It's either No Effects or Bad Religion. The point is, late 80s, early 90s punk band that is still around today, and their entire thing was just like, yeah, the longer you stick with it, the more successful you'll be, and the best thing you could do is just to keep going at it, and patience, and eventually it will pay off.
And make sure you have copies of
Yeah.
everything you have ever made, no matter how bad you think it is, because it will help you in the long run. And make sure you do, try to say, oh yeah, I do, in your case, I do music. In my case, oh, I do art. You tell as many people as possible, and the more people that know, the more people like, oh, this person does this. Because I actually got that. I actually got a voice acting gig through that.
Awesome. Announcement, everyone. Wolfie has a voice acting gig.
Yes.
More after the break. So I guess finishing this interview up, I'd like to ask, what exactly is in the future for StormWolf?
Well, at this point, I guess I'm just going to continue using this alias, I guess, for pony stuff. Like, last season 2, I was kind of lazy. I wasn't really active at all, but I'm planning to be fairly active during season 3 and stuff. And as for Beyond Ponies, I'm not too sure at this moment. I'm probably going to drop the alias, but keep my channel and everything. And as of now, I'm probably just going to release original music in the future, as well as like fan music for other fandoms, like probably Toho and various animes and stuff like that.
Alright, well, we actually do have a little bit more time, so I'm going to quickly ask some little more offbeat random questions real fast. Like, we'll call this the rapid fire round. So we'll go straight into it. 1 minute hot seat, go. Favorite anime?
Damn it, I can't think.
Skip.
This is very hard to think of, actually.
Alright, well,
like a lot of animes, but I guess right now my favorite one's probably Sword Art Online, because I just watched it a lot.
Okay. Favorite pony?
Rainbow Dash.
Favorite background pony?
Does Octavia count? Yes,
Octavia
it counts,
totally counts for that. Alright.
You've answered them all
Favorite
correct.
Oh, that's
Continue.
debatable.
Continue.
Okay, one more question. Favorite cartoon that's not MLP or an anime?
Well, I already said Sword Art Online, so I guess I can say Ore no Immortal.
Oh, there we go. Alright, well, once again, Storm, thank you so much for coming on the show. Now, this is usually where we will have our musical break, after the interview, but because you're a musician itself, we figured why not let you choose the song to play for us today. So, you've chosen the song, which of course was Lesson Learnt, that creepy Twilight-inspired Eurobeat song. You describe the song. It's your song. You describe it for us.
Well, it's cheesy and hyperactive, and the vocals are a mess.
And it's awesome.
So there you have it, everyone. StormWolf's Lesson Learnt. Have a listen. We'll be right back. and that was Lesson Learnt by StormWolf.
God, I love that song.
It is a fun song. I mean, I hate to be that guy, and I will flat out say it's not normally the kind of genre I find myself listening to. However, that song in particular, I do have in my League of Legends playlist as, like, it's great gaming music.
It is. It's really
It's a lot.
awesome gaming music.
You know what else will be fun? Going back and revisiting, you know, a little bit of discussion about One Bad Apple. As I said before, it's my favorite episode. I'd actually like to know, Stormwolf, what did you think of it?
Well, actually, there might be a slight problem here because I haven't actually watched it yet.
Blasphemy.
Oy.
That is a little bit awkward, though. I hope we didn't spoil it and ruin it for you at this stage.
No, at this stage, I've probably, like, everything's been spoiled anyway. I don't really mind anymore.
He goes on Tumblr frequently. Of course the
Yeah.
episode is going to be spoiled.
The episode's gonna be spoiled
It's
like
worse
it's solid.
than DeviantArt and Equestria
Oh, it is.
Daily
Pretty
put
much.
together.
Yeah, I was about to say, you probably actually have had every episode spoiled at this. I have you not watched it yet? I am a little bit in shock there. It's not quite as bad as Stingray not liking the episode.
I didn't watch it till only yesterday.
I was planning to watch it, like, I forgot when, but past 2 weeks I was, like, completely busy, so I didn't really do anything at all.
That's understandable.
Yeah, that's understandable, as long as you later love and worship the episode as the best episode ever.
And Babs
Awesome.
is best CMC.
No, but, just the first part will be fine. I'm gonna get back at that with you, Wolfie. I have a larger target right now in my sights, being Stingray, who
Oh.
doesn't like the episode.
Uh,
Please explain.
I have a predisposition to hate every Cutie Mark Crusader episode because I know I'm sounding very rude, but they're just thick. Scootaloo just made a clockwork car, and she doesn't have her Cutie Mark yet, and that gets on me.
Applebee's
Well-
the one that's all creative and mechanic, though. She probably just gave Scootaloo the instructions, and Scootaloo just did the dirty work. Because she's
I'm
small
not
and skinny, can fit in there.
I'm not so sure about that. I actually really like the idea of Mechanic Scootaloo.
Oh,
Really
well,
like that
Yeah, because she is meant to be the daredevil. I suppose she would be able to.
Yeah, she'd be able to do all that.
Do
Like,
the
she has to
mechanic
fix her scooter and, like, mechanical work, fixing, tightening screws on the scooter and all that, because that's
true.
all what creating parade floats are, just tightening screws and wheels.
And apparently putting together clockwork cars. But anyway.
Yes.
To the A team.
Yes. I actually really like the idea. I thought so much of that episode emphasized the point I've made a couple times on here, that Scootaloo is best pony.
Apart from Babs.
You
No.
do not fight about that. Seriously. One time I tried and Formal was all over me, like a wet flannel.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly list over the evidence that I think, supports this theory in this one. We have Scootaloo saving Babs, Scootaloo doing all the mechanical work, creating the floats.
True.
And really, what else do you need? It's everything from the other episodes. Those were the two that stood out the most.
Yes, but Sweetie Belle was
Scootaloo-
the one that was like, you should tell Applejack.
And Sweetie Belle was golden for a solid few minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was literally
golden
golden.
Sweetie Belle.
Go!
Yeah, Sweetie Belle can play the cute card all she likes.
Also, she was edible, apparently, at that point.
Yeah, edible
Emergency
boots.
edible boots.
This episode also had, like, 3 of my favorite lines of the entire series thus far, with the emergency edible boots
Seriously?
being one of them. Seriously? Fun! Seriously? Pinkie Pie getting shut down by Apple Bloom. There was just so much goodness in this episode. Storm, watch it. Yeah, you're gonna watch it right after this. I'm gonna make sure. As soon as we turn off the recording button, I'm sitting down with you, and we're watching that episode. Yeah, so further continuing on, as I said, there's so many good lines I just loved in this episode. But going a little further back, Scootaloo's job is not to be cute. Scootaloo's job is to be the most reasonable CMC, the most handy CMC, and essentially the most awesome CMC. And she does
And
all
the
three of those things.
stupidest CMC.
No, how is she the stupidest CMC?
She doesn't know what a dodo is!
Yeah.
We don't even know if dodos exist in Equestria.
Obviously they do, because Sweetie Belle knew. So
It could
did
be a
Apple
mythological
Bloom.
creature.
Along with the horse.
Sweetie Belle has had her own moments of special moments, I'll call them. Sweetie Belle's had plenty special social moments as well. In every fic I have read, Apple Bloom is struggling something hardcore at school.
Yeah.
So
But that's because everyone takes the whole dumb southerner thing.
I disagree with the idea that Scootaloo is the dumbest CMC by a large margin.
I didn't say
argue...
a large margin. I just said...
No, I'm saying that's how I disagree with it by a large margin.
I'd call them all of average intelligence. They're not dumb.
Well, she's book dumb, maybe.
Scootaloo built a float.
She's mechanic smart.
She's also street smart and socially smart.
Also, she can ride a scooter fairly well.
Yes, but no, you say Babs is the best CMC.
I tend to love characters that I can relate to, and I can relate the hell out of Babs.
No, I get that. So Babs can be your favorite. Babs is your favorite. I disagree with the idea of a one-off character being a favorite character, personally. Well, it's true. But I do want to point out, Babs has gone...
Well, Applejack is a background pony, so...
What about Aoizoto?
That is a totally different road that will only lead to more harm than good. I do want to point out, though...
Just kidding, guys. Applejack is my favorite main six, and she was my favorite character until Babs came along and broke my heart.
Well, the thing about Babs is, she has actually gotten a lot of hate. I've noticed a lot of bad OC calling and the like, and I really disagree with a lot of it. I mean, sure, when she first spoke, I thought it was a Colt instead of a filly, but quickly I found out I was wrong. And once I realized that, it was fine.
Have you noticed that she's the three CMC's colors combined? She is Scootaloo's coat color, roughly. She has Applebloom's hair and bow color, roughly, and she has about the same eye color as Sweetie Belle.
I did not realize that until just now. That's actually pretty cool.
I'm looking that up now.
Well played. Again, I really liked her accent because Manhattan, it's not all upper class. It is a bit of that Brooklyn sort of tinge. I want to say Brooklyn tinge because it wasn't dominating, but I thought it was actually a really well done, well-rounded character, so... I do enjoy that.
She had her reasons for doing what she did.
Exactly, she had her reasons. Although I do feel that intimidating other ponies by saying I'm going to tell is not really that. I thought that was the weakest part of the episode.
Maybe it's because I've been a kid more recently, but I've had all of that stuff happen to me in my childhood, and I know for a fact that all of that was pretty damn accurate, other than the fact that they were talking cartoon ponies.
Nah, even that was accurate sometimes.
Yeah.
True.
Cartoon pony.
Well, they certainly had the intelligence of ponies, but...
However, when talking about this episode, I think a lot of people are drawing onto one thing, and more reason why StormWolf is here, was the song.
Yes, I actually have heard that one. So, I love the song.
They hit a winner.
I thought the song was too much.
There's so many remixes of it as well.
I love the song as well.
I'm pretty sure everyone loves that song.
Oh, why am I such a bad seed?
You are the bad seed, Stingray. You are...
The song was too much. Because usually the song's tied into the episodes a little bit, and I understand that the song was also a great way to show that Babsy was being totally rude, but it was too much.
Nah.
I do kind of agree with what you're saying, Stingray, in that I felt the song felt like a music video thrown into the middle of the episode. And it didn't take too much to create, it didn't add much to the episode. However, I still really, really enjoyed the song, so I was able to forgive it.
Yeah.
If you could have the song a little bit more integrated so that it looked less music video, it'd be fine. It just was high five and
I can
sort of Scooby-Doo chasing and all that. It was just...
I can see where you're coming from, but really when you look at the series as a whole, the only song that I feel... Actually, I'll say with two. There's been two that have really been able to do it, and that has been This Day Aria and Winter Wrap-Up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those have been the two. So, it's not really that out of character for the show, I think, to go into the more music video-y approach.
Yeah, it was just a little bit more obvious.
This one was the most obvious to date, except again... I really, really liked the song, so I forgave it almost instantly. I thought it was really good. Scootaloo learned how to sing. More reason why she's best friend.
Yes!
Shocked that one off the list, all you haters.
Yeah, Scootaloo probably had the best voice out of all of them in that clip.
Yeah.
And if you notice, Sweetie Belle didn't sing anything except the chorus.
Yeah. Oh, now
I'm thinking there's something behind that. I'm not sure what. I haven't figured it out yet. I haven't made any theories, but there's something behind that.
Okay, so in this episode...
Someone could...
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking that, in this episode, we've now seen Scootaloo steal Applebloom's thing with the constructing and building and mechanics thing, steal Sweetie Belle's thing with the singing and all that. What more proof do you need that she is the best character?
Now she just needs to be even more bullied, and then turn into a bully herself, and she's covered all of the CMC.
Next thing you know, she's going to be breaking the fourth wall and frickin' turning frogs into oranges and turning evil.
And then she'll become an alicorn, and everyone will hate her.
Scootaloo alicorn.
She's a parasite.
A parasite.
Oh
She's,
god,
she's
Scootaloo,
sucking the
you're
talents
evil!
from everybody around her.
She is a changeling, except
Oh,
with cutie
God.
marks.
There are so many Scootaloo changeling fics, it's not even funny. But
I've seen a good rarity one, but
I've seen a
anyway.
couple good Rarity ones. It's always either Rarity or Scootaloo, actually. Or Twilight. Those are the three. That's off topic, though. Bringing it back to the song and the music, something that I've actually noticed throughout the show itself is that with regards to technology, and I guess musical technology, because you see instances where all the music seems to be classical or, not really electric instruments. Like, there's a lot of brass seen throughout the show and drums and strings. And then all of a sudden you have vinyl
Polka.
rocking up with a DJ turntable. So I was kind of wondering, what sort of music do you think is actually popular in Equestria? And, like, what is their pop music, I guess?
I don't think they don't has like any kind of speaker been shown, like a megaphone, not a megaphone, and
There has been microphones.
okay.
There have been
Yeah.
microphones.
It's weird because they're trying to keep it low technology, and then suddenly you've got a disc jockey.
Yeah, because you have it in the houses, you don't see electricity, and I can't think of some way to have CDs or any kind of audio holding device to play it in your house. So I don't think music would actually be all that popular to begin with.
Mm.
Or rather, personalized listening, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because there's
Yeah,
been a fair few ponies that have, musical cutie marks, Lyra, Octavia, Noteworthy, but you don't really see them playing all that often unless it's in Canterlot.
Mm. Except for the one time when vinyl was in
And the
Ponyville.
polka. And then,
In the polka.
and then the fashion show, that's
Yeah.
still like a big event. It's not just everyday kind of thing. You usually only see them in the big city.
Yeah,
In my headcanon, actually, and my headcanon is, this is legitly, I'm pretty sure, not necessarily uniquely, maybe there are other deranged people out there who think the same way, but I know it's not at all ever going to be on the show. But I always envisioned it like, I guess the popular Brony musicians at the time, that's the sort of style of music that they listen to. So you have that, a lot of electronic dubstep, and then you also have a lot of the classical stuff as well. So, like, those would be the two main competing genres out there. Just because, like, we haven't really seen rock. Scootaloo does mention a rock ballad, actually.
Yeah.
She says she wants to do a rock ballad. So rock does exist, but it's not a large thing. It looks to be like you have the classical and the electronic, and they are sort of at an ends. And I think a lot of that probably comes from the fandom, but I do believe that,
Yeah.
it's fun to think that, when you listen to, like, StormWolf's music, that's what they're listening to in Equestria at the time. It's a fun little imagination game that I like to play that makes me creepy in so many ways.
There's been several fics in which that's happened. They've, mentioned one artist or another being on the radio or something. But that's in fics, so.
I guess, I don't know. Storm, you're still around. What's your opinion on the entire thing?
I'm not sure really. Like, I have this really stupid idea, but I'd love it if like the popular music in Equestria was just like medieval and Celtic music.
a whole load of drums.
That would actually... No, actually, I can sort of see
Polka.
that a bit. Yeah, because you have the polka, and drums would be a major part. The only problem, I guess, with that would be where the turntable fits in.
Yeah, that's just kind of...
Also, what instruments would they use?
It's still an interesting...
Vinyl is an anomaly.
Vinyl's an...
She's out of her time. Headcanon, vinyl is from the future.
She had it custom made out of alicorn bone.
Vinyl from the future. Oh, boy. That's a pairing I haven't seen yet, would be Vinyl and the Doctor. Because I still stand by that it should be Octavia and Lyra, and not Octavia and Vinyl, and not Lyra and
Them
Bonbon.
be fighting words.
Yeah, them be fighting words. That's something we'll address, I think, at a later episode.
Later.
But...
Another question to ask would be is, what instruments would they use? Because unicorns have a lot more leeway, but something like an earth pony, it couldn't very well use a guitar.
Applejack plays a fiddle.
Not easily.
Applejack does play a fiddle.
Yeah, like...
Octavia plays a cello.
Yeah, Octavia plays the cello. Like, I don't see anywhere where anything but drums would have been used in the Pegasi culture, but...
Well, they were a war culture.
Yeah, exactly. They would have their war drums and I guess, like, their bugles and whatnot. Don't give Pinkie Pie the horns, ever.
I want a flugelhorn.
No. Denied. I do feel that... I don't know, I guess... Yeah, the unicorns would have an advantage over there, but I've always envisioned my headcanon, I guess, that the Unicorn Society was always the higher class, more cultured society. So, of course, there'd be more adapt to making the music. Like, even if all the three races were equally as capable of making the music, I still would think the unicorns would be leading the race just because they are the most culture in tune.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly because they're like they have the most spare time.
Mm.
Most of their production.
Yeah,
is done
that's
through
true. They've got nothing to do. Bastards.
Yeah.
No, it's like the Earth ponies are still harvesting the food. The Pegasi are still managing the weather. What the hell are the unicorns doing?
They're
Apparently raising the sun and moon.
yeah,
They're doing the music and the boring stuff.
Research.
music and boring. No, there's so much more besides music and boring. There's music. It's just culture all stops. So that'd be what we cover on this show. Hey, music, writing,
Yeah.
art, culture.
I thought you said rioting for a sec. There. I was
Sure,
like,
they can riot as
Are you
well.
trying to apply something?
The unicorns are the most formal race, and they riot all the time. Formal riot.
Yeah, that seems about right.
understand.
Formal
They understand
riot.
equestrian rights.
I like that name.
Which is ironic because your OC is a Pegasi.
Yeah.
Pegasus.
My OC, that is... that's a story for another day. But I love my OC.
I love my OC.
Everyone loves their OC.
Ah, yeah.
Everyone loves their OC. I would love to see an episode where... Actually, hold up. I can't believe we've gone this far into the conversation, and we've missed something huge. Sapphire Shores.
Sensational!
Yeah, she's obviously not classical music. She's obviously not, the Celtic. She is...
She's obviously pop.
There's their...
Oh.
Duh.
And
Oh my god, that is a wrench into the system. I just flipped my own table.
I assume because you know how pop is named after popular. I assume it wouldn't be called pop. It'd be called something else. Because
It'd be called
insofar,
San?
insofar, Sapphire Shores has been the only quote-unquote pop.
Yeah. Well, and again, was she actually called a pop musician on the show, or did I just call her that now?
I don't think
She was referred to as pop, but she was definitely referred to as a large name. But then again, she could be performing, like, with the DJ sort of backing. Like, there are, like, that would go along the vinyl.
Also,
stuff.
she has a terrible fashion sense. That outfit was atrocious, and even I don't pay attention to fashion.
Straight up.
Oh, here's where my horrible traitoress is going to go. I'm going to say the Stingray is my favorite of the main six. Her dresses are ugly.
Yeah.
No. Most of...
I liked her Unkota ensemble.
This is all getting to an opinion here, listeners.
Yes, this is totally opinion, and I will stand by my opinion, and I will fight for my opinion with a broadsword.
I agree with you, but her Unkota ensemble, or whatever it was called in episode 3, it was pretty good. I like that one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was yes. That was a good one. Most of her stuff, I'm not big. It's just, I guess, a personal preference. I like low-key subtle, and Rarity is anything but.
She's less subtle than Rainbow Dash.
Yes. And strangely enough, Rarity is the one I relate to the most. Well, it appears to me we're actually starting to run a bit low on time. Finishing up,
As it were.
I want to go, if there is rock in Equestria, because imagine the rock palace, what would a pony mosh pit be like?
Oh,
Man,
God.
that'd be so
It
deadly.
would be the single...
That would be deadly. I'm pretty sure the only ones that would survive were Pegasi. No, they would be the
No, they'd
first
get
to die. I reckon
crushed.
the only ones that would survive would be
The Earth ponies.
Earth ponies, just because they're
Yeah,
sturdy.
they're sturdy. They'd be
Pegasi would be lucky to fly
horns
out of
snapped
there.
in half, wings ripped out of sockets. It'd be glorious. I want to see that equestrian mosh pit.
Glorious!
I can't see unicorns in a mosh pit.
They're
I
too
think they're a little bit-
cultured.
Yeah, they're a little bit too... Oh.
What is this poppycock?
Throw Sweetie Belle in a mosh pit by the tail. Just whah! Right into the middle. What? Eddie?
I only listen to the finest Beethoven.
Oh, there's the pun.
I was thinking about Beethoven, but I thought that would be too
Beethoven.
far.
So as it stands, it is unfortunately time to wrap things up. First of all, I'd like to thank our panelists for joining us tonight, Stingray and Wolfie. Once again, thank you for
You're
coming.
very welcome.
Even if one of you was not
Later,
wanted.
guys!
I'm watching you.
Hey,
The second
Alright.
best wolf wishes you well.
And then, another huge thank you to StormWolf for coming on the show. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you on the show itself. I hope you had as much fun as we did.
Yep, it was a pleasure to be on the show.
And lastly, as per usual, I'd like to thank any listeners out there who came on and, have made it to the end of this one and put up with all of us. Thank you for tuning in and giving us a listen. We would love to hear from you, to know that you exist as well. Our website, as you can see, is now back up. We are over those technical difficulties. Tumblr and Twitter are getting a little bit of a reboot, and they're getting more up to date. And we want to hear from you, full stop. So send us an email or a comment on the YouTube video or a tweet or something. We want to hear from you.
Reblog us.
Reblog us. Get your feedback out there, and not only will we, potentially read it out on the show, we will respond. We are going to be more serving for you from now on into the future, and I think that's just going to make everything great. So let us know what you want to hear on this show. I know we would all love to hear from you. So once again, signing off, I am Formal Riot. Good day, good evening, and good night.